So I've made a few additions to my store. I don't, should I call it my store? So I've made a few additions to the ISHTECH bait lineup, and I've been working on some tubes. I got some green pumpkin. I'm gonna call this like my caramel copper, blue smoke, and I got smoked goose turd. So the reason for the smoked goose turd name is because the plastic I'm using to make my tubes is from Dead On Plastics. It is a little bit more on the expensive side for plastic, or plastisol, whatever you want to call it, for the fact it is a non-phthalate plastic. I don't know if you know anything about phthalates, but it's not good for you. It's not good for anyone. It's especially not good for the person making the baits. I'm not going to go health class on you to explain what phthalates are. You can look it up on your own. They're not good. So I pay a little bit extra for the Dead On Plastics non-phthalate version of plastic. But anyways, I'm sticking with their colorants also. They have a good lineup of colors. And the first color I tried is called Goose Turd. So that's where the Goose Turd name comes from. And then, of course, smoked, add a little bit of black. I have a few other colors I'm working on, but I don't quite have them right yet. But I also wanted to let you guys know, if we go back to the original spiral hook, it's basically a balance jig, right? I've been throwing this in my tubes, and it's working wonderfully. But this spiral hook, it is a hook I would put inside of a fluke, just like that. But it was a little crude because the ends were rounded and stuff like that, and you kind of had to force it and make it work. So it didn't really work the greatest for being put inside of a bait. It did work, but it wasn't the greatest. And it absolutely did not work in a Z-Man bait whatsoever. So what I have done, Do It Molds came out with a hover jig hook. And this design has a pointed tip, pointed rear, and ridges to help it stay inside of a bait. And now it's much easier to install inside of a bait. But it also works with putting it into a Z-Man ISHTECH bait. Still not the easiest thing to do, and I can't guarantee it'll stay in there forever. You're probably going to have to work at putting this head back on from time to time. But as you can see, I'm pulling on it. It's staying on there pretty good. So now if you wanted to use this in a Z-Man, this is the answer. I am now making these with the same mustard blonde jig hook. The mold wasn't designed for this, so I've modified my mold to take this hook because I feel that this hook is one of the best hooks you could ever use. It is ridiculously sharp. It lasts a long time. It stays sharp a long time. It's got that nice gold coating, so it's super slick, and it helps with hook sets. I think it's the most wonderful hook I've ever seen in my life. So that solves a big problem for me with wanting to run this super finesse fluke. It's awesome because there's no lead anywhere. You can't see anything. It's all internal design, so it helps it stay horizontal, gives it a nice gliding action. But the cool part about this hook to me is sky's the limit. You can put this in almost anything you want. You got a Senko. I don't know what this thing is called, but it's inside there. This is like a hula grub. It's inside there. You can put it in anything. So this hook is really designed for you to get creative and try to create something or use something a way that the fish have never seen before. So on my store, I have now segregated these two. So the hover hook is meant to go inside of baits, and the spiral hook has now become a spiral tube hook. That is its best purpose in my eyes. I've been using it like crazy with my tubes, and it works amazing. I use the 2/0 size on my 2 3/4 size, and I use the 3/0 size on my 3.5 size tube. I have added one extra weight to this too, so now I have 1/8, 3/16 quarters, and 3/8 for my tube hooks. My best advice, if you decide you want to try this out, is to buy hook weights at least 1/16 ounce heavier than you think you need. With this hook in a tube, it helps it sit horizontal, so the fall is going to be slower than normal because it kind of sits horizontally. That's where that extra 16th comes from. It's going to act the same, but you need it to be a 16th heavier than you think. My favorite size, honestly, is a quarter. Even with the river being this low, I'm still throwing a quarter because it is that snag resistant. Yeah, you're always going to get some snags, but it is that snag resistant. How it stays horizontal, it doesn't get in the crevices as much, and you tend to get your bait back most of the time. So those are the major changes I've made to my store recently that I wanted you guys to be aware of. I would greatly appreciate any purchase you guys would want to make. I will be making more colors in the future. And if there's any size hooks that you think you would need that I don't offer now, let me know. I will see if I can make them in what you want. This is what's working for me, so that's what I'm offering. I would like to thank you guys for making the purchases this year you have. It gave me hope for the future for the store, because I have sold enough things that I am going to continue growing the store and doing my best with the YouTube, everything. It has given me, it has let me see the light at the end of the tunnel here. So I thank you for your business, and I thank you for your time, and I thank you guys for watching my videos. I'll see you next time.